This may be my best $500 purchase of my entire lifetime, and boy do I have a show for you guys. Ooh, listen to her howl. Hey Siri, call Elon. Oh boy, slippy slip, insane. But no, seriously though, this actually is a show. Super high output. And as you see, I wrote 1 of 1 on the window here because of how rare it is. Yeah. So yes, this is a 1997 Ford Taurus SHO model with the V8 3.4 liter Yamaha engine in it, which is actually a fairly rare vehicle. And yes, I did pay $500 for it. I found this thing pop up on the old face grinder, and it was sitting next to a guy's house for probably over a year just parked because it started having transmission issues, which I will show you here in a second. And I actually think we should probably hear a little rev from this old bad boy and show you the engine, and let's just take it for a cruise, even though it's gonna slip a little bit, but second gear still works. So let's take this thing for a rip. Listen to this exhaust note, and you'll see why I couldn't pass this deal up. Listen to this thing. Woohoo! And look at this antenna goes up by itself. How amazing is that? If I just clip the mic right back here. All right, listen to this thing rev up. So as you can see, this thing is a pretty awesome monster of a vehicle. It just sounds good. Nice V8 roar. It does have transmission issues like I was saying, but I think we should still take it for a drive even though it might be an issue. And this might be the love-hate that I really end up having with this thing. Like right now, I kind of love it because how cool and unique this thing is, but I think I'm gonna start hating it because of trying to find parts to fix this thing. But let's take it for a romp. This thing is super cool. So before I get into all the nitty-gritty about running around the car and showing the interior and the engine and how cool that stuff is, we really need to see how this thing performs on the old street. So let's get into it. All right, well, let's hit the road. I see there's lights on. That wasn't on before, so obviously a door is ajar somewhere. This is pretty unique dash too. This is a Speedo that goes up to the 150 mark. And I gotta be a little careful because the tires on this thing, the tires are in not good shape due to sitting for a year. Let's see what this thing got. I'm in drive currently, but I do know that drive, putting you in first, that transmission really does like to slip on this thing. Just see what it does here. On the old country road. God, this thing even feels sweet to just sit in. Look at these seats. The seats are nice and bolstered. The dash is even in immaculate shape. $500 I think I got a pretty good deal on this thing. Oh, it's slipping a little bit. God, what a cool car. You know, surprisingly well. It's sat for over a year, the guy said, and it feels pretty good, you know, 45 miles an hour. We'll just take it up the road here. Man, I think I just scored on this like really cool car. You could tell by my excitement how much I like this thing. So this model does have the active electronic suspension, which was a fairly unique thing because I think this was supposed to be like some competitor for some of the higher end vehicles at the time. And it has the old phone in here, which is freaking sweet, and it works. But yeah, what a cool car. 55, a little shaky from the tires. Let's see if it's gonna downshift. I did downshift into first. She's a little slippy. Here's a nice part about living by the countryside. All the lowlifes throw their trash out on the side of the road. Crappy deal. All right, we'll go up to this a little turnaround right here, and maybe we'll pound on her. Mean machine. I'll probably end up having to put it in second gear because this thing does slip pretty bad once you start giving her the beans in first. and reverse is a little slippy, which is kind of a bummer. So we'll figure that out. We're gonna get it taken care of, because this car might be one I want to keep around. Otherwise, I'll end up having to take it through the trail or something. I don't know. Oh, oh boy, slippy, slippy. Give me a second. There. All right, let's get on it. All right, that's all the way to the floor, boys. Woo! Listen to her howl. Woo! Yep, and then their lovely trash on the side of the road. Clean America! Woo! God, that slips bad. All right, second gear. There we go. What if I just put it down in second? Stay in second. There we go. God, it's like super underpowered, but super fun to drive. It's just the stupidest car. I can't believe this thing even existed. It's funny that this thing is existing from '97 and it's still with us today, which is just a crazy, crazy, crazy thing. 3,500 RPMs, and we're gonna hit it. Ooh, nice. Nice pulling V8, man. This thing is freaking sweet. All right, let's get back to the shop, get this thing up in the air, show you all around. This is a freaking cool car. You're gonna love this thing. You're gonna love seeing the engine and what it all has to tell for stories. All right. We are back. And now, I can pop the hood, and I can smell a little oil burning, which is probably engine. But why don't we go through this whole car now, and I'll just show you the features of the 90s. And nobody's a bigger 90s fan of cars than I am, I feel like. Because 90s cars are pretty freaking sweet. Pop this hood, let this thing air out a little bit, because it is a little smoky. So yeah, like I said before, we have to address some concerns. We have some oil leaking, which is probably common. This thing's almost 30 years old. And it does have a transmission slipping in first gear. And that might pose a threat of keeping this thing going. I know there's some builders out there that can do it. I just don't know enough about this particular model due to the engine and transmission combination. I knew about them back in the 90s when I got to work on the original Ford Tauruses with the 3 liters, and this thing with the V8. I've really only seen them. I think I did a couple of small maintenance things on these things in the past. But again, this is actually a kind of a rare car, so it's kind of a cool thing to keep around. Let's bring you on the inside, show you how clean this thing actually is for, again, 500 bucks. I'm gonna keep going back to that number, because this thing really does put on a show for us. All right, so we'll start with the exterior of the car. You could see fairly good looking paint. There's a couple of love bumps on the old ding dong right here, you can see. There's a little tiny spots of rust kind of just showing up underneath. And on this side too, right down here. That might be a patchable thing. I'm not sure quite yet. So here's what it looks like as a whole. You know, red color, which was a very common thing. The SHOs did get these chrome wheels, which are fairly good shape on this thing. Really primitive badging. I think this thing was supposed to be like Ford's sleeper model. And really the only badging was the V8 on the sides, and then this very, very discreet SHO on the side with Taurus right in there. Look how cool that is, you guys. That is freaking sweet. So yeah, again, matching paint. I don't think they really wanted to exploit the uniqueness of this car or to tell you what kind it was. And I could be wrong on that, but I think that's what they were going for. V8 on the badge, on the fenders up on the front. And just check this engine out. Insane. So this is, to my understanding, Yamaha and Cosworth engineered this engine. And so if I remember right, the lower half, so the block and the pistons and all that stuff, were designed from Cosworth. And then everything from the heads and the intake was the Yamaha design of this thing. It is full on oil. That's a little low, but you can see, I'm going to try to one-hand this thing in here. You can see right down here, there's oil leaking on the front cylinder head rocker cover here. And then the rocker cover on the back is definitely leaking. We had smoke coming from back here. And the transmission, you know, this is the guy that's going bad here. You know, that fluid is maybe discolored. I guess, how does she smell? Ooh! I mean, it smells like transmission fluid, but it doesn't smell that bad. Darn. Just a little slippage in first, man. That kind of is a pain. Got to address that issue, which is going to be kind of a pain because this looks like you can't work on it unless it's on the ground. So this will have to get pulled out, dropped down, and serviced that way. And then the transmission, I don't know if that's a task I'm willing to jump into, or if I try to find a rebuilder or just find a used one. We'll see what happens. That might pose a huge issue. But again, overall, car is in pretty dang good shape. Some fading in the headlights on both sides. And these did have like a different bumper in the front. So they had this little lip that came down, as you can see. So I think this was unique to the SHO models. And the other Tauruses didn't get it. Again, I still can't believe I'm talking about how cool a Ford Taurus is from the 90s. This is just I don't know, a phenomenon? Is that what you call it? I don't know. This is just a crazy thought to me. But for the rest of the car, it is in fairly dang good shape. I just can't believe how good shape it is. Built with pride. You don't get that anymore. That's a beautiful thing to see. This mirror, you can see heated mirror on the right side. This did include the moonroof, which is awesome. And this little spoiler, which is kind of a hilarious thing. Yeah, and then the retractable antenna, it still works. I'll show you that. Pop the key in this thing. This is just so cool to me, how all this stuff can still actually operate correctly. There it goes. Look at that. How? 30 years later, and this thing is still going and operating correctly. It does have the car phone in here, which is awesome, and it works. Hey Siri, call Elon. Oh, I guess he's busy. Again, the cluster goes up to 150, 8,000 RPMs. This was a only SHO cluster, if I'm not mistaken. Again, the moonroof you can see. And I think, oh yeah, it operates. Awesome. No, this is just a hide yourself from the sun. Look at these seats though. They got these big bolsterings. A headrest that moves. It does have lumbar. And check this thing out. It's got lumbar on this side. So you got lumbar here, and it's actually operated from an airbag. So it's a compressor that pumps up. You can hear that? It pumps it up, and then you can deflate it. You hear it? Crazy. Airbag lumbar. So freaking unique. Got the old cup holder. That even work? Oh, yeah, there it is. Dual cup holders. You can ditch away. All that stuff works. You got the phone call button up here.
Voice directory empty.
Whoa.
Voice directory empty.
I didn't even know that did that.
Voice directory empty.
Sweet.
Voice directory empty.
God, this thing is cool, man. Oh, and this did have the 10-disc CD player that's located in the trunk. So you could have 10 CDs in this thing, in this compact disc changer. And this had the springs or whatever they use in here, like a hydraulic or a spring or something for the anti-skip. But yeah, all that stuff. You can put all your CDs back in here. And everything, to my knowledge, is pretty much operational. Everything's pretty much OE, too. So I think I got myself a pretty dang good smoking deal on this hot rod. And just look at the audio on this thing, too. This thing did have a speaker system in it, which was probably top of the line at the time. Mock audio system. It had the tweeters and the doors. I don't know what speakers are in here. It's probably something similar. But it sounds freaking booming. I think what we should do is get it up in the air and just, I'll show you as a whole what this thing is underneath and kind of what else it's going to need, because even I don't really know yet. So let's get this thing up in the air and make a list on it and keep this thing chooching. All right, I thought this was kind of funny so I don't miss it. It said they came with the alloy wheels, the different bumpers, V8 drivetrain, as well as the wind deflector being placed on the driver's side windshield to keep it to the windshield at high speeds. And it has it. What are the odds? So let's continue with the show. Uppy we go. All right, so I'm up in the air. I got the old light. We are gonna take a look at what the old show ride is all about. So here we be. This is the cool part that I was telling you about the suspension. So this must just be an electronic actuator. So when this thing is actually, it's got a soft and a firm mode. And I even pulled this thing up over here. Let's see. The SARC system, semi-active ride control. And when energized low speeds is full soft with no power. When fast speeds hard braking, full hard. So it can adjust this suspension like so from these arms. I guess they would probably measure if this arm is moving up and down or something like that. I don't exactly understand how the system responds, but I do know that the struts, if you look up in there, it's pretty awesome. They have little electronic solenoids or something like that attached to every strut on this thing. The front and in the rear. You can see right there. Both sides. This side, actually, if you look at the strut, it looks like she's gone. So good luck. I don't think you can actually get that strut any longer. And if you can, if somebody knows you can get parts for these things or where to get parts for these things, please shoot me a comment and let me know because I am interested. So in a hole, you can see from sitting, the brakes are shot, pretty rusted up in the back. We do have what appears to be OE sway bar links, and this side is actually damaged. So that probably won't be a tough find because Taurus was a lot of them. There is some rust and stuff starting, not terrible, so we can try to clean that up and get rid of it. Same thing with the front here. We do have a, what appears to be a ball joint shot on this side and on this side as well. So that has to be addressed. And then these motor mounts, look at these, well, this is the transmission side, but you can see they're cracked. I mean, 30 years old. What do you expect? Oil coming down from the cooler, but what actually it is the valve covers puking down all the way here, and even on the back side. I know you could see some of the oil coming down off the manifold up there. You can kind of see it. It's kind of tough to see, but even on the back of the transmission, that's engine oil. Yeah, here's some more residual on the heat shield. But yeah, here's the exhaust. We got a converter here, and then a aftercat converter in the back. Which is, look at this exhaust. Look how crazy it is. And I wonder if this is actually engineered for the engine. You know, as far as a torque band goes, per se, just how the engine exhaust pipes run, and due to that weird intake design. And I could be completely wrong. Maybe that's just how they decided. Hey, get the exhaust out of the engine, and I don't care how it's done. Design too. So yeah, again, kind of an oily pig. That mount too. Oof, that looks kind of nasty. Man, there's just like no room to work on this thing at all. Like it legit has to be dropped out to do anything on it, which isn't the end of the world. Wear and tear on the bushings, some rust, of course. Kind of a bummer this thing was driven in the snow up in the old salt belt here. One thing I always did like about Ford is they did all this stainless, so you never really had issues with their lines rotting out. Too bad they didn't do that with their brake lines. I think what I'm going to do is get this thing back in working order and keep it alive. What do you guys think about that? Making this thing the old collector rod, something you could bring to a car show. I mean, you can see the bumper's got a little bit of love bumps on that ding-dong there too, and who knows, maybe there was a different lip on this at one point with this double-sided sticker tape. And they probably hit a coon or something, who knows. But there you have it. This car is going to be probably giving me some grief for a little bit, but I'm excited for it. And it runs and drives with a little slippage. So I'm going to do my best. If anybody knows where you can get parts for the SHO, third generation of the SHO, hit me up in the comments. Reach out to me. Let me know, because I kind of want to keep this old girl alive. I'm going to call it a quits on that. When I do some cool stuff with this, I will be sure to post the video. Like and subscribe. I will show you the rest of this thing as time goes on. I'll do the, I'll do a video on the pulling out the transmission and what I end up doing with that. And then as well as whatever else we do to the car. I know I got to do valve cover gaskets for show. And yeah, that's where I'm at. Again, thanks for tuning in to the old Showtime. I will keep you guys posted on what we do to this thing next. Stay tuned. Thanks for watching.